This tutorial summarizes advanced methods in working with master lists. At Homewyse, we've provided construction and service cost estimating data to over 10 million users. In the process, we've received a lot of helpful feedback. If you're a service provider, you know that creating accurate estimates under heavy deadline pressure has become a key survival skill. The internet has trained customers to expect answers quickly, and as a result, they often award work to the first or second responder who has a credible estimate. Basically, if you can't respond in the first hours, it's likely that you'll lose the job. To meet this challenge, Homewyse users explained they need some improvements to the basic calculators at homewyse.com. First, a simple way to combine related job options, also the ability to change cost factors, and lastly, a direct, fast, and easy way to share those results. We listened. The latest version of Homewyse List makes it possible to create and share professional-grade, detailed estimates in as little as 60 seconds using your smartphone, tablet, or computer. This makes it possible to create job-winning estimates reliably without stress or anxiety from anywhere at any time. The key to this is a master list. A master list is a menu of services that you commonly perform. It is an estimating calculator that is tuned precisely to the way you do business. This tutorial covers how to build your own master lists, how to edit and create the items that are in that list, and then how you save, reuse, and share lists created from the master list. Let's create our own master list for interior painting. Sign in to app.homewyse.com. There we'll choose Add New List. We'll copy an existing list, and near the bottom of the Homewyse templates we see Basic Interior Painting. We need to give it a name that's going to be memorable. We're going to call this our Master Interior Painting List. Once we click Save, we'll see that our list has been created. At the top, we see a description. The description provides all of the key assumptions that are used in the calculations for this list. The most important one is that the input for the list is the total floor area of all rooms to be painted. And this is the number you input to the right under square footage of area. Now what's important about this is that when we input this one number, the square footage area, we're able to estimate all of the other quantities for interior painting, such as wall area, amount of trim, door area, and so forth. And we do this by making reasonable assumptions about standard room size, wall height, number of type of openings, etc. For example, we can estimate the perimeter of a room by noting that the ratio of the perimeter to the area for most commonly shaped rooms is somewhere between 0.4 and 0.5. For a square room shown here, the ratio is 0.4, and for an oblong room, ratio 0.5. Now an average size room or average shape room is going to have something in between this, so an average of 0.45 in between 0.4 and 0.5 is a good estimating value because it'll cover most cases and provide a bit of estimating material overage. So for a room of 100 square feet, we would use this to estimate that there are approximately 45 linear feet of base molding or 45 feet of crown molding. We can also use the perimeter estimate with an average wall height of, say, 9 feet to come up with gross wall area to floor area of approximately 3.2. So for preliminary estimates, you'll be close with this type of estimating, and if necessary, you can always refine your quantity estimates with exact measurements later. Most item quantities in this list are automatically calculated using these assumptions. But if you ever don't like any of the calculations in any of these lists, it's easy for you to change it to meet your needs. Let's take a look at how we can make some common edits to this master list. Let's say that after reviewing the list and looking at how things are calculated, we've decided we want to make 3 changes. The first one is we'd like to delete the item that's associated with removing wallpaper, because our company doesn't do that type of work and we don't even want to make it an option. The second thing we'd like to change is we'd like to increase the time estimate for caulking trim molding. We see here that 100 feet takes about 0.9 hours, and we just don't think that's enough time, and we'd like to change that estimate. So that'll be our second edit. And then thirdly, we'd like to add a new item that isn't listed here, and that's for painting crown molding. So let's get into those edits. Again, the first item we're going to do here is remove wallpaper. So next to that, we see an edit link. Click the link, and that gives us access to all of the information and parameters that are used in the estimates for this item, remove wallpaper. Down in the lower left, we see a button, delete. If we choose that, we're asked for a confirmation that says once you've selected this, it's permanently deleted. Do you want to proceed? We say yes, and then this item is removed from our list. So that's the first item. The second one is we wanted to edit the parameters used for caulking molding. So again, let's click the edit link next to that particular item, and we see that we have basic information, cost information, and quantity information. And what we wanted to do is basically take more time for a particular amount of work. So basically what we want to do is edit the labor productivity. Right here it says that you can do 112 linear feet of caulking trim molding per hour. Say that we don't believe that that's fair, that's too much material, and that it actually will only be able to do 80 linear feet per hour. We can just type that value directly into this dialog box. We can also, if we want, we can go in and change the description of work. So for instance, instead of saying, okay, we're cleaned the edge of all loose material, it's like maybe we want to remove all existing caulk. So we could actually just put that in here as well. And maybe that's the reason that it takes us longer to do this type of job than was estimated by Homewyse, and it's totally fine for you to go in and make any of these changes. Once you've finished your changes, click Save, and then your item will reflect those changes from this point going forward. The last change that we wanted to make here was we wanted to add an item that would calculate the cost for painting crown molding. And to do that, we'll start by going to the bottom of the list where we'll see add item to this list. And what we want to do is we want to copy an existing item. Now when we go in and do this, we see that there's several places we can copy items from. The first one, which is chosen, these are my items. So as you know, my username is demo user in this case. These are all of the items that I've created and that are mine. I can also use standard items that come from Homewyse. So these are standard things in each category you see here, whether it's framing, painting, plumbing, repair and maintenance, sheetrock and plastering, so forth. You can go in and choose the item from there. But for this, what I'd like to do is go back to my items, and from the painting and decorating area, I'd like to reuse the paint trim molding. And what I'm going to do is just create a copy of this, and I'm going to change the name. So I'm going to say, instead of trim molding, I'm going to call it crown molding. And if I wanted to change the description or whatnot, I could, but for sake of time, I'm just going to go in and say, okay, let's change the productivity. So instead of doing 54 linear feet per hour for regular trim molding, crown's more complicated. So let's say we can paint 30 linear feet per hour, and we can also go in and specify the quantity. Now, remembering back to the beginning when we talked about how you can estimate different parameters about distances and so forth from the area of the room, we know that if we want to automatically calculate the quantity involved here, we can enter a value. So if we enter our ratio of 0.45, which represents that there is 0.45 linear feet of molding perimeter in a room for a square foot of area, this will give us our estimate. So once we made those changes, click Save. And we've seen how easy it is to go in and make addition, modification, and deletion types of edits to our list. And you can continue to do this and create the list to meet your specific requirements. You can even start with a blank list and build up each item in the list from scratch. It's all up to you. For most cases, though, you're going to find it easiest to use a template and then go in and make edits like we've shown here. You'll be able to create a great master list in no time at all. Now, once you have your master list, this is where it really becomes easy and productive to start doing estimates. So, for instance, say you got a call or a request from a customer, a potential customer, to create an estimate for interior painting. You could drop right into your list folder and say, I want to add a new list. And what we'll do is we'll copy an existing list, and we'll copy the master interior painting list. And And what we want to do is give it a unique name so it's easy to find later. And one way we recommend is putting the job name, maybe the customer name, and then put a date like May 2017 in for the name. It'll be easy to find and retrieve at later points. So basically put the name in, click Save, and you will now have a list that represents that particular job. You can go in and enter the size of the job. So maybe for this one we're going to paint 875 square feet of total floor area. Those are the floor area corresponding to the rooms that are going to be painted. And maybe in this case, in addition to the standard painting for the ceiling, walls, molding, door, etc., we might also have to do some priming for the trim and the door panel, and we'll probably have to do some caulking. So we choose those, and as we choose those are going to be accumulated into our totals. We can also see that products have been checked, so we see that we're going to need 15 gallons of wall paint and 5 gallons of ceiling paint and so forth. And we also want to make sure that we choose primer and sealer, because we're actually going in and doing priming jobs on this as well. And then down at the bottom we see there's a crown molding option. If we don't want that, we can just uncheck this box, and then our totals are updated. So once you've created this special list for a job and made your choices, just save it away, and that's your estimate. Now if you want to share this, it's very easy just to go in and say, okay, let's send, and what you'll get is a dialog that says, okay, this is basically the URL back to this list, and you can share it with whoever you want. Just click copy, and then if you want, go into an email or a text message, whatever you choose. You can paste that URL in there, and then you can send it as email, text, or what have you, and you're off to the races. To get started, go to https://app.homewyse.com. If you have feedback or questions, send us an email at tickets@homewyse.uservoice.com.